So I found this really interesting tweet, and I can't wait for y'all to hear our points on this. This was from Tin Suulo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, on Twitter. He's the CMO of Ahrefs, which is a big SEO company. He tweeted, every new marketing hire at Ahrefs has to spend the first 2 months working in customer support before they get their first marketing assignment. It's hard to be an effective marketer if you don't know both your product and customers in and out.
Well, I agree with that the last part of that statement, but I don't think I agree with the approach that you have to take 2 months in support in order to understand this. I think there's a much more efficient way to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. You know, Mike?
Yeah, so, I mean, let's break down exactly what he says right here. So, really, I mean, the meat and potatoes of what he's saying is that you need to know your customer in order to be an effective marketer. 100% agree with that. I do think it's a waste of time to force somebody 2 months into one customer service if that's not what they were hired for.
Exactly, because what happens if they get to month 3 and they suck as a marketing person? You know, like you said, Mike. But this is my problem with it, and this is why I don't really agree with this, is that I think if you asked any software company, any business in general, if they could eliminate support, would they want to eliminate them? And I think they would answer 100% yes, right? If they could eliminate it. I know it's not possible to eliminate support, especially in a software company. Maybe there's technical things, so you can't eliminate it all. But from a sales standpoint and from a marketing person standpoint, this is a very inefficient way to do things because the way that we work in our organization is, you know, we have a presentation that we use when we talk to our customers, and we bring them through a capabilities presentation. But what happens is, over time, you start to understand every objection that's going to come up. You know, I think probably after the first 40 or 50 presentations, you kind of had 20 or 30 things that people had questions, always ask. So the way that we've always approached it is we take these questions, we bookmark them, and then we integrate the answer in the presentation. So think about it like this. When we get a customer on, we already know every objection they possibly could have. We know which ones are more important, which ones are medium important, which ones are less important. The deck is actually, and the story is told, addressing every one of these objections. So when you get to the end, not only do you get a lot more yeses and a lot more closed deals, think about the confidence that that person has on the other side, because the expert that they just talked to addressed every single question they had prepared before the presentation was done. So you're getting off on the right foot with that customer to start with. And then, listen, in the beginning, there's going to be objections and additional things that come up. But the feedback loop between support and sales and marketing should be very fluid and dynamic. And these things should be getting addressed. And so now you're heading things off on the front end instead of, it's kind of one of those things, if you don't invest in this type of thought process on the front end, the result is a back end that's going to cost you a bunch of money. So you got to pay me now or pay me later. But at some point you got to pay me. And this is the least expensive way to go about accomplishing the same thing. Because listen, if you did it the right way, set the right expectations, your customers knew everything about the product because they talked to an expert that understood their needs, their concerns, then what's the need for support at that point? If you have good support within your app, if you're a software company and you can walk people through places they get stuck, what do you need support for? That's our approach, and that's what I think the right approach is.
It's more like being proactive as far as reactive. I mean, support is a very reactive stuff, and obviously we do use it because nothing's ever perfect, and we do want to make sure we have an open mic for those customers that come in that want to voice their opinions, and that way we can keep it in, because the initial decks that we created didn't have these issues. It was basically you either talking to the customer as far as during those pitches, or after it's sold, it's coming back with them having issues or questions and those kind of things.
But this is a big company, Mike, so they've gone through this 1,000 times already. They have bigger. It doesn't take long for you to get to the point. You talk to 40 or 50 customers, you pretty much heard it all. Like it's going to be hard for them because one of their questions lead you to another answer, and that's just the way it works. It's like, oh, I see, this is where I'm missing, this is why these questions keep coming up, and so you make these adjustments. Big companies like Ahrefs, they have this intelligence, So yeah, I'm interested to see where they're allocating their, from a support standpoint, what support calls are they taking? And then what happens if these people don't work out once they start their real job? It just seems inefficient.
To me, it doesn't seem like it fits the mold of what you're trying to do to be an efficient business. I think it's a little bit different. Again, I think the way you're handling it, making sure that support is a part of everybody's position, has a little bit of support, because everybody is, it's a company growth. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's the bigger you get, the harder it is to adjust and pivot and adjust decks. We're small, we're very nimble, and we're making changes on the fly in real time, right? Just because it's important, this affects the entire process if we don't get this right. So just creating that feedback loop, in a process to update your sales collateral and things like that, this is just a necessary part of it till you get to a certain point, and then it's good.
Let us know what you think about this, because we just found it a really interesting tweet.